Went to go see The Nice Guys today, and bottom line, enjoyed the hell out of it. Go see this movie in theaters. It's kind of very fun. But of course I did go into with a little bit of bias because I am a Shane Black fan. I mean, I love the original Lethal Weapon. I love Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, which he wrote and directed, as opposed to Lethal Weapon, which I know he just wrote. With Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, that's one of my all-time favorite movies. When I saw previews for The Nice Guys, it was very much echoing a lot of the stuff that I enjoyed heavily from Kiss Kiss. I'm happy to say that while it kind of touches upon familiar territory with regards to the buddy comedy, the buddy action comedy as it were, and tropes that Shane Black has written very well in the past, this movie does them just as well as he did them back in 2005 with that movie, but also is able to keep them fresh and interesting. And a lot of it I feel is a credit to how he's able to very much write really enjoyable and engaging characters, and basically also the actors that he chooses to inhabit those roles just elevate those characters on the page even further with their own personality. So this is very much a throwback to a lot of buddy action movies, and also to a lot of like period pieces that took place in the 70s. A lot of this gritty LA noir type of detective story, as it were, then incorporates a lot of shady people, a lot of twists and turns with regards to the mystery, and just over-the-top violence and action. Russell Crowe is pretty awesome in this movie. I really like the character he plays in this, Mr. Ailey, where he is this guy. He's essentially playing the role Ryan Reynolds played in Deadpool before he was transformed into Deadpool, where he's this muscle for hire, essentially. If you give him money, he'll go and beat up or enforce against whoever is bothering you, no questions asked. And he's just matter of fact about it. He doesn't really have so much of a soft spot for a lot of people, but that's like an arc that he kind of goes throughout this movie, is that he goes from just being like, okay, well, it's just my job and I'm just gonna do it matter of factly, to actually being like, you know what, maybe I should be doing the right thing as opposed to the smart thing. That even comes into play at one point in the movie. I love kind of how this character starts off. He's just very, like I said, matter of factly, to the point. Beats up a pedophile for luring like this 13-year-old girl to his house with offers of like marijuana and stuff like that, because the girl's parents hired him to, and also taking money from the girl Amelia, who is kind of the MacGuffin character throughout the entirety of this story, who a lot of the plot kind of revolves around and the mystery revolves around. He ends up meeting up with her, and she's like, I got these guys on my tail, please, can you take care of him for me? And before she can even like say like thank you or be like, you don't know what this means to me, he's like, you're $7 short. And he's just like, and she's like, oh shit, okay, well, I think I have $7. Or he's gruff and to the point, but then as the movie goes on, he doesn't soften up and become overly sappy or sentimental as probably the character would in a lesser movie. Definitely you can see that kind of change in there, because there's this little bit of a connection he shares with Ryan Gosling's daughter. Ryan Gosling is a private investigator, and his daughter ends up being like his assistant for a lot of the movie in a way, but she doesn't like to see people get hurt. She's running a very like pacifist line. There's a point where she even wants to help out one of the bad guys who was like run over by a van, and while she goes to like flag down an ambulance down the road, Russell Crowe just chokes the life out of him after he gives up information to him. He ends up lying to her about that because she's like, you didn't kill him, did you? Because she's like, you know, we can't just go around killing people, and he just lies to her. But then by the end of the movie, that comes full circle where he has a choice about whether or not he's going to kill somebody. That relationship I really kind of dug, and and like I said, Russell Crowe really doesn't become a big teddy bear throughout this movie, but you see more humanity coming into the character without giving up his toughness or gruffness. I'm gonna save Ryan Gosling for a bit because, wow, his daughter is really kind of a fun addition to this cast. In this kind of movie where you have a kid actor, or you have a kid playing a pretty significant role in this action buddy drama comedy type thing, you'd expect it to maybe be a little over the top or a little grating or annoying, and she really isn't. I'm going to give Shane Black kudos. When he puts kids in his movies, such as the kid actors in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang who play like young Robert Downey Jr. and young Michelle Monaghan, they were pretty good in their brief scenes together. When he put the Iron Man 3 kid and the Jurassic World, the younger brother kid, when he puts those types of characters into movies where they can run the possibility of being annoying or kind of a dragging influence on the story, they don't. And that's a testament to these kid actors being really good at this age, but also to the fact that he writes these kids very, very well. They're not just there to be a gimmick. Like, they're there to very much inhabit this world and prove to be even more adult than the adult characters, because as we find out through the movie, Ryan Gosling is a pretty shitty private investigator. He's a widower, he's kind of destitute, and when he does have moments of deductive brilliance in this movie, sometimes it comes off as genuine talent, other times it's kind of just a fluke, because he just kind of literally and figuratively stumbles into plot points as he has a heavy drinking problem. And that's an arc in and of itself that comes full circle kind of here. But so a lot of the gumption for a case or the determination comes from his daughter. Like, she's the one kind of rallying him to get the job done, and the fact that she gets involved in a lot of the plot. When I first saw that she was going to be kind of hanging around, there was a part of my mind thinking, like, is she going to get annoying? Is this going to be an unwanted presence in this movie? But no, she's like one of the more fun aspects of this movie. She's actually really funny. She kind of plays the straight man to a lot of Russell Crowe and Gosling's antics in a way. And it's very much almost a Penny Gadget situation here, where she's almost doing most of the work at times, but it doesn't seem that far-fetched. Like, she's going around like asking people about information and everything like that, but at no point does it ever seem like she gets in over her head. If anything, she kind of gets Ryan Gosling out of a couple of scraps here and there. She's a wonderful young actress, and I buy her relationship with Gosling as this father-daughter relationship. There are times where she's his driver, essentially, because I'm assuming Gosling's character is just fucked up pretty much 22 out of the 24 hours of the day. And so he's just there kind of sitting in the passenger seat going, boop, 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 like to the music or whatever, if there's music even playing. And then she'll be the one driving. And this is like a 13-year-old kid, but just this look of sheer annoyance on her face, like, sells me every time. The first time, well, not the first time you see her, but like the first time you see her working in tandem with him, she's like sitting there in the driver's seat, matter-of-factly, and he just gets into the car after meeting this client, and he's like, be honest with me, am I a bad person, Holly? And she's like, yeah, and just starts driving. And that's my introduction to her getting involved in the family business, as it were. And it's charming. They're really, really charming actors in these roles. Even the girl playing Amelia, because this takes place in 1977, I want to say. Yeah, I think it's 77. So there's a lot of like protesting going on. The plot kind of revolves around this protest about pollution caused by cars and smog, especially out in LA. Girl that they're trying to find, Amelia, she's kind of a very, I don't want to say militant, but she's a very passionate, quasi-philosophical hippie type. There's a point where she has this long monologue about it, like, man, the system's in control of everything, man. It's like, we gotta stop this. I'm trying to put it all into this work, this porno or whatever. And it's like, we got themes going on in here. We gotta stick it to the big death merchants and everything, like that type of scene. And that can very much go into hippie caricature territory. It does a little bit, but she is able to anchor it a lot with the sheer terror she has that she's being hunted by all these interested parties throughout the film. Makes even that kind of rant very convincing, where it could have just been like, okay, this is she's gonna be now this very ultra uber liberal militant hippie type that I'm gonna get annoyed by. But no, I was like genuinely interested in where this plot was going. Ryan Gosling is by far my favorite thing about this movie. This has to be now. I want to say this is my all-time favorite Ryan Gosling performance as of right now. He throws in a lot of effort into this role. He is a great comedic foil for Russell Crowe and for his daughter, actually, in this movie. It's very fun kind of to see the physicality of this character. He's getting beat the fuck up left and right, throws himself off like window ledges, diving into pools, and just getting all around beat the hell up. And it is fun to just see his I can't explain. I mean, it's kind of like hungover expression, but also like wits end performance in this movie, and it harkens back to a lot of classic comedy, if anything. There's a point in this movie where he is tumbled off of this patio down a hill, and he's like lost his gun. He finds it. He's like looking for his cigarettes. He's just back up against the tree, and he's lighting his cigarette with his lighter. And then there's just a dead body right next to him that's illuminated by the flame, and like bloodied up, everything like that. And he doesn't notice it the first time, but then he can't light his cigarette. Lights it up again, happens to glance over, and it's not like one of those like, oh, jeez. He goes full Lou Costello here, but he is lampooning Costello throughout this entire sequence where he's like, and then you hear Russell Crowe calling to him in the distance. He's like, and I'm just dying because it's bringing back memories of when Costello sees Dracula's hand rising out of the coffin, and he's like trying to yell out to Abbott like, he is beat for beat lampooning Costello in that scene, and it is hilarious. At no point does it really feel like this is way too cartoony for Gosling to be doing. I totally buy that this character would respond like that. When he's had like, God, how many glasses of scotch at this point, that he's so fucked up, he went swimming in a pool with people dressed up like mermaids and everything. And like, I totally buy that he would be like guffawing that much, or, you know, what's the word for it? Gasping, I guess, that much. It's hammy, but it's believable kind of hammy. And that's what I appreciate about not just this movie, but about other Shane Black movies. There is some very incredible like pratfalls throughout a lot of his films. I mean, in Lethal Weapon, there's some really over-the-top action shit, but, you know, people get messed up pretty bad in that movie. And while it can be gruesome at times, it's also kind of engaging and funny. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, which I feel this is a lighter version of Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, if anything. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang gets into some kind of really dark, demented stuff, but even then there's like pratfalls that really work in that movie. It's a lot of that just done with in a more, I want to say, a more playful tone. There's still a mystery going on. It's not quite as winding and swerving as the mystery in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, that mystery, it holds your attention right up until the end, because there's a lot of twists that kind of take place with that plot, and which makes sense because it is kind of lampooning those pulp detective novels where there's just twists galore and everything like that. Like, they even, I mean, these movies are very self-referential with regards to what their source material is at times. With this movie, the mystery is kind of resolved by the time the last third of the movie starts. And so it's more just about the spectacle of like, okay, are these guys going to be able to pull off, you know, cracking this thing wide open for, you know, the villains to get their comeuppance. And here's a shocker. I'm not really spoiling anything here with regards to details in the plot, but in kind of a way, the villains do kind of get away with it in the end, but not totally. I was okay with that, because for all the kind of, despite all the violence and gruesome things that do kind of happen in this movie, it's played very lightly. So I felt to kind of end on a semi-downbeat note was okay. It's still got this kind of well-rounded ending where all's well that ends well, but at the same time, the characters do make note of the fact that, like, well, we didn't win this one 100% technically. And yeah, because it becomes really kind of this big complex conspiracy by the time the third act rolls around. At no point was I thinking like, well, that's a little much, because with everything that had been set up in the world, I could totally buy why things were going on in this movie. And everything has a cool little callback throughout this film. Initial case that Ryan Gosling's working on gets its comeuppance in the end, even though, again, it's got kind of a down note at this point where his female client, this old lady, Mrs. Glenn, I believe her name is, had paid him to find out what happened to her daughter, who is this porno actress. And the movie actually opens up with this porno actress getting involved in a car crash and dying on this family's front lawn. And that's how the mystery begins. And so when there's a payoff to it, this old lady is convinced that her daughter is alive. And when it's discovered how she came to this conclusion that she was alive, she's like, so what does this mean? And Ryan Gosling, who is showing a mixture of both exasperation with this woman, but also relief that the clues are finally coming together for an answer, he's like, no, she's dead, goddamn. Just ends up yelling at her. And his daughter is just like, but rest assured, we're going to bring the guys who did this to justice. And then Ryan Gosling kind of chimes in again. He's like, for a slight discounted fee. Just shit like that made me just chuckle and laugh throughout this whole thing. The chemistry between characters is really, really good. I buy this father-daughter relationship between Ryan Gosling and his daughter Holly. I buy the antagonistic relationship between Gosling and Russell Crowe. And it very much stays that way throughout. It is very much a Gay Perry, Harry Lockhart relationship there where, you know, they come to kind of begrudgingly respect each other in some way, shape, or form, but they don't end up being like all buddy-buddy by the end. There's still a lot of shit that they give each other, and that's fine, that's fun. Like I said, the action is really kind of awesome in this. I mean, people getting just shot the fuck up. The fist fights are actually like pretty brutal from the looks of it. Like, Russell Crowe gets into this really nasty looking fight with Keith David, and it involves everything from like knives to fighting on this porch to trying to drown Russell Crowe in this hot tub, to the point where he ends up like shooting Keith David through the leg because he dropped his gun in the hot tub. So he like shoots him through the leg through the hot tub, which is kind of badass, and it was just really kind of fun and engaging. All right, I gotta stop giving away too much of the good stuff about this movie. You gotta check it out in theaters for yourself. This is definitely going on my list of favorites for the year. I just can't resist a good Shane Black action comedy. Is it the most stellar movie so far? Probably not, but it's definitely been one of the more fun ones I've gone to. I'm feeling a little spoiled because, yeah, between this and Civil War, Keanu and Deadpool, I've had fun so far at the movies. Bottom line, it's a fun action comedy. Go see it. Go have fun. Go have a good laugh. These characters will do it for you. Unless you're not a Lethal Weapon fan or Kiss Kiss Bang Bang fan or, you know, a Shane Black fan, in which case everything I said is probably negating your entire worldview on that particular brand of movie. Sorry.